In section 2.2, you're going to solve problems involving proportions and also percents, and also solve real-world problems using proportions. So let's start out with a few vocabulary words again. And a ratio is a comparison of two numbers by division. So 3/5 would be a ratio. A proportion is an equation stating that two ratios are equivalent or equal. Now, in a proportion, the cross products are equivalent. So we can do multiplication on a diagonal. So this would be 5n. And multiplying here, 14 times 3 is going to give us 42. And then we can just solve by dividing by 5. So n is 42/5. And I'm just going to leave it like that as an improper fraction. Okay, on the other side, still doing cross product here. Just be real careful when you do this because we have 17, and I'm going to suggest that you put, anytime there's two terms there in the expression, put it in parentheses, equals 5 times 38. Okay, so now we're going to distribute. So that's going to be 17 times 2 is 34n plus 17 equals 5 times 38 is 190. All right, now we're going to move the 17 to the other side. And we have 34n equals 173. Okay, dividing by 34, I end up with n equals 173/34. And I'm just going to, again, leave it as an improper fraction. Okay, now you've probably used proportion where you do percent over 100 equals part over whole. So let's just look at this particular question. We have a college brochure that states 11%. So whenever you're doing proportions, as soon as you see that 11, or as soon as you see percent, you want to put it over 100. Percent always goes over 100, and this percent is part of 100. So then on the other side, we're going to put part over whole. So if I keep reading, 11.5% of the students attending the college are majoring in engineering. If 2,400 students are attending the college, so 2,400 would be the whole amount that of students who are attending the college. We want to know how many of them are majoring in engineering. And now the whole college obviously is not majoring in engineering, so that would be the part. So we would just put 11.5 over 100 equals x over 2,400, and then you would do your cross product and solve. So 276 students at the college are majoring in engineering. The other thing that you could do is you could change the percent to a decimal by moving it the decimal 2 places to the left, and then you can multiply by the 2,400. Okay, now we're going to set up a proportion. The first question, we're going to round to the nearest tenth. Now, when you're setting up proportions, not a bad idea to give yourself a little template to work with. So we have 1,300 students at Swartz Creek High School. If 278 of those students play a sport, what's the percentage of the students who play a sport? So we want to do part over whole. And part over whole on this side as well. Okay, so we know that we're asking for a percentage, so we don't know the percent, but we do know the whole part that matches up with that is 100. Now we have to decide if 278 is part of the student body or the entire student body. Well, it says 278 students play a sport, So not every person at the high school plays a sport. So that's part of the high school that plays a sport. So 278. And then we're going to put that over the whole, which is 1,300. Now once that is set up, we can do a cross product. So 1,300x equals 27,800. And then we can just divide both sides by 1,300. And I wrote up here round to the nearest tenth. So when we divide there, we're going to get something like x equals 21.3846 dot dot dot. We want to round to the nearest tenth, so it would be this place right here. So since that's an 8, this is going to be 21.4%. Okay, so let's set up a proportion on the other side here. We have a climber and we have a tree. So I'm going to put the information for the climber on the left and the tree on the right. Now when I set this up, we know the height of the climber and we know the length of the shadow that it is cast. So we're going to put the height here and just put H for height and S for shadow. So for the climber is 6 feet tall and casts a 20-foot shadow at the same time that a tree casts a 90-foot shadow. Well, the shadow on the left side is in the denominator, so we have to put it on the denominator, or in the denominator on the right-hand side. And then we want to know how tall the tree is. So X is for the height of the tree. All right, so we're going to do the cross product. We have 540 equals 20x. And then I can divide by 20. So X is going to equal 27. So our answer is 27 feet. Okay, you have 4 problems to try on your own.